What's up, Laker Nation? We have some major developments on the coaching front. 4 a.m. this morning, Woj posted that not only was Shams, well, to this point, it seems like Shams has just been fed wrong information, but none of the candidates for the coaching search that have been mentioned to this point from any reporter would have included this guy. And this guy is Dan Hurley, the reigning two-time NCAA championship coach from UConn. And apparently, according to Woj, the Lakers are going fully all in on him to be the next coach. And in some of his reporting on TV after his tweet, he said that this was like the goal the entire time. From the beginning of the coaching search, according to Woj, the Lakers have been all in on Hurley. So this throws a big wrinkle into the coaching search in general, obviously, but just the way that offseason reporting has been taken. Because, frankly, this was... it's hard to say which name would be the least likely to me. But if I had to rank them, I probably would have gone through 2,000 coaching names before I landed on Dan Hurley being the Lakers coach. Nothing official, especially with the reports going on, but Matt, this is some crazy news, honestly. So what were your first reactions to it?
Yeah, I mean, I had a very long day yesterday. Woke up from a good long sleep, and that's the first thing I saw. Is probably honestly, it's the most shocked I've been since the Otani news, really. And that wasn't even shocking. Otani was down to two teams. This was out of left field, and to me, the biggest thing, like you said, is the fact that what was said. This was Plan A. This wasn't like the Lakers are pivoting. We have not heard about this guy at all, and apparently, that's our day one target. And the other shocking thing is when's the last time Shams and Wolves has been like, I mean, they've been rivals, but like Shams didn't know about this at all. And Wolves, I mean, both of them have given us nothing but, reasons to believe them. This is really crazy news. And I mean, the guy's a two-time reigning champ. And the biggest thing, it wasn't, obviously it's player driven. Everything's about the players, but it wasn't a superstar number one pick. In fact, they lost their best player, who was the 14th pick to the Pelicans, Jordan Hawkins, and then they were more dominant the next year. He he has one of the most elaborate, brilliant college schemes that we've seen maybe ever. I mean, they were arguably the best offense in the ever last year. They When's the last time we've seen someone just freaking steamroll the March Madness? I mean, everyone knew they're gonna win. It was like one of the more dominant teams we've ever seen, and the offense is unbelievable. It is so many screens, it is so many cuts, mainly off ball screens, backdoor cuts, curls, handoffs. They just never stop moving,
Yeah.
and they it's so the biggest thing is, will it translate to the NBA? Because they didn't have superstar players. They just had a bunch of smart players, all of them good, of course. But they won was because of the scheme. And what have we been saying? Well, experience, basketball IQ, and scheme. They need a scheme. We can't have what we had with Frank Vogel. And this guy may have not may. I think he has the most intriguing scheme out there of any of the coaches we can hire. But the thing is, it's a college scheme. We don't know how it's going to translate to the NBA.
Yeah. I think the thing about that is, I first of all, I agree with what you're saying. The college issue brings up two questions for me. Two issues, not even questions. Um, and I've talked about this with friends, I've talked about this with you, our family. Anytime we talk sports, and the jump from college sports to the pros, honestly, schematically, isn't really big. It's not smaller. It's just that you have to cut out plays, as in basketball specifically, because there's a longer shot clock and everything, different pace, so it's different stuff. So the playbook, I'm sure, will shrink a little bit. All the plays that typically take 15, 16, 17 seconds to get through, like for progressions to actually get where you want, that just doesn't fly in the NBA ever. But the real adjustment to me, I think, especially with someone like Dan Hurley, who is very much like one of the most notoriously emotional and loud people on the sidelines, not just to refs, but to the players as well. He doesn't really do it in a disrespectful way. Like, he's not cursing them out or anything. He's just loud. He is incredibly like I said loud 3 times, but that's just to emphasize he is incredibly vocal and emotional on the sidelines. And that's the type of stuff to me that is the actual challenge for college coaches, because you're talking to 18, 19, 20-year olds who are like just barely starting to become adults. You're like forming them. That's like the appeal of college coaching as well, is because if you can instill in them that you are in control, you can create the environment that you want. You're going into an NBA season. Well, I guess we could keep it specific with the Lakers. Going on with LeBron, well, LeBron will respect. I mean, LeBron's been open about how much he likes him, just generally, which is weird. He's always open about how much he likes other coaches, or just like coaches in general. But yeah, so but like Hurley is a genuine basketball mind that's there. That's always going to be there, and you can respect that. But these are grown men. These are multiple superstars, including the biggest, probably the biggest star to ever walk the earth in the basketball uniform, him and MJ, with LeBron. AD is a superstar. You have a bunch of people who will be making 15 to 20 mil. Like, it's just difficult to keep that personality and transition into the NBA and be the exact same type of way and get the same response from the players. So that's an actual concern that I have. It's not just with Hurley. Anybody that would be hired from college in any sport, honestly, that's the same concern I'll always have. But we talked about our 3 things that we want from a coach. You specifically, you're talking about how you want them to be respected, like in the locker room, have a scheme, and have experience. There's no real better option than Hurley. It's hard calling him an option because we didn't think it was. Like, genuinely didn't think about this. But he hits all 3 of those marks almost with 100% efficiency, truthfully. Like, he's there. And I'm excited that we talked about the process. And I mentioned how upset I was about the coaching search process if it ended up with Reddick and just interviewing 2 guys and then keeping those 2 guys for the, which is exactly what every leak that we saw was, specifically that, talking about that coaching process and how much that upset me, because we're the Lakers and we don't need to just get a guy because we kind of want him, and like, oh, we could just settle on this or whatever, and we like, oh, we kind of like these other 2 guys. The Lakers are the premier franchise in the history of an entire sport. You go get the guy that you want. And it seems like this is what they're doing with Dan Hurley. I'm excited. It's actually crazy how much the Lakers can create excitement. Like, they dropped the news on the day of Game 1 of the finals, and no one has said anything about the finals the entire day. That's what the Lakers are, and that's what I think we've been missing. We need to go. We need to drop a bunch of money on a coach that, for all intents and purposes, is like the biggest fish in the market, and we didn't even really know Hurley was on the market. That's the type of stuff that premier franchises do. And again, I'm not gonna go back on my oh, I don't think coaching is crazy important or whatever. Like, it still depends on the players. It absolutely still does, because so if we hire Hurley and the roster stinks, we're not just gonna be great because Hurley's here. I want to make that clear. But this is a step in evaluation of talent and evaluation of the future that I think makes me feel way more comfortable about the process that the Lakers are doing. Again, nothing is official, just like nothing was official with JJ. But this is honestly, it's a pretty inspiring move to me.
Yeah, it's huge, and in his field, the college basketball world, he's the very best. He
Yeah.
has back-to-back national championship experience. He has the best system. I agree. My biggest concern is, a loud vocal guy coaching superstars. Now, I'm sure he's not gonna kick someone like Urban Meyer, but when's the last time you've seen NBA coaches be like that vocal? And I love the intensity. LeBron obviously respects him. If LeBron respects him, it's likely the rest of the Lakers will respect him. So that's the only thing I'm a little bit worried about. But I think he can just, like, he's a smart guy. I think he'll, as long as he adapts to the NBA locker room, he'll be fine. Because I talked about the backdoor cuts, the off ball screens. LeBron James is one of the best passers of all time. And to get into a little bit X and O's, when I watch that offense, I see LeBron hitting these back. We saw how effective Rui was cutting. I mean, we don't know if he's gonna be on the team. Vando can cut. A lot of it was, 80 setting off ball screen, then slipping, and he's right by the basket. I mean, they had some big guy who's setting screens. Obviously, he's not AD.
Yeah.
So you give superstar players that offensive system, it looks really exciting.
Yeah, so a lot. Again, I take everything with a grain of salt going forward. Honest, even from Shams and Woj, but it's looking like the Lakers are going to bring in Dan Hurley as the new head coach for the Lakers, not just for the LeBron era, not just for the AD era. The way they're saying, the way they're talking about it, they want this to be a long-term potential. You are getting the keys this next decade. Let's build something, and frankly, it's an incredible shift from the last 15 years of being a Laker fan. So super exciting. We're going to get into a lot of X's and O's and stuff. And there's a lot of implications, honestly, with the roster going forward with this type of hire. So we'll get into all of that later. But for now, thanks for watching. Go Lakers.